We'll begin now. Om Agyan Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahim Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Shashi Rupam Savyajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tamsa Jeevam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Sha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishwabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langaite Girim Yatkripa Tamaham Bande Shri Guru Dina Tarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthadi Tulishmati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Okay, we will be finishing our 15th chapter today. The acronym for this chapter is HOME. In H, we discussed home. We compared this material word to an inverted banyan tree, and then we saw that to go to go back to Godhead, we require renunciation. Um, um, Krishna says, with a sword, cut those branches which are keeping us attached in this material world, and then we require desire, a desire to go back. That desire will come just by hearing about Krishna, by hearing about uh, spiritual world. Then one will develop a desire to go back. And then we discussed O for out ongoing life, where we saw that the mind is the cause of our ongoing life, and mind has to be properly directed. And mind also carries lot of impressions from in this life, from before we came to Krishna consciousness or from previous life. So mind has so many impressions, and mind will bring back those impressions. And also, if we are not very careful, then if we engage in activities not conducive for Krishna consciousness, then mind will continue to carry lot of impressions. The example is given that the air carries the aroma of either a rose garden or a sewer line or wherever the air passes through. Likewise, the mind carries impressions. Now, that's the nature of the mind. Whatever you do, the mind will carry impression. Now you have a free will. For example, if you expose yourself to Krishna, Seva, Shastra, Vaishnavas, if you engage yourself to the holy name, to the process of Krishna consciousness, mind will carry those impressions. Mind has to carry impressions. Sixth chapter Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that mind is neither good nor bad. Likewise, mind is going to carry the impression. Now, mind is like a child, so mind wants to enjoy. Um, 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 if somehow you are, if somehow you live a life favorable to Krishna consciousness, and if you start nourishing, relishing Krishna consciousness, then that will be very conducive for your mind to be controlled and take you forward. But since the mind carries previous impressions, those previous thoughts and the new samskara can cause you a bondage in the next birth also. So mind is the key here. So ongoing life depends upon our mind, how we use the mind. We have a choice today, we have a choice tomorrow, we have a choice every day, we have a choice every moment. Okay, the class is over, it's 12:30. What am I going to do now? And whatever we are going to do, desires will be there, but whatever we are going to do, mind will carry those impressions. So the life of Krishna consciousness is a life of training, where we are always making a right decision favorable towards Krishna. If we do things unfavorable, then um, um, we have to go through the reaction of that also. So that is the cause of ongoing life. Okay, now we see M stands for home, HO is ongoing life, goes around the mind. Mm. Then M stands for maintainer. How Krishna is maintaining everything. Let's see. Let's go ahead. Let's have someone read.
The
Okay,
splendor of
I'll
the sun, the splendor of the sun, which dissipates the darkness of this whole world, comes from me, and the splendor of the moon and the splendor of the fire are also from me.
Thank you, Yatan Prabhu. So here Krishna is telling that the splendor means the light of the sun comes from me. Now, scientists, there is an external cause. The scientists may say it's nuclear fission or fusion or whatever you can call many things. But Krishna declares that I am the cause of it. If there is a particular fission, fusion, whatever, then Krishna is the cause of that. Ultimately, Krishna is the cause for the splendor of the sun. And then Krishna is the cause of the splendor of the moon. And Krishna is the cause of the splendor of the fire. Now, Srila Prabhupada makes a point here. No one can live in this material world without the sun and the moon and the fire. I heard that if the sun is the one who maintains temperature and who maintains life on this planet. Sun goes little bit further in millimeters or little bit closer. Human beings cannot survive because of excessive heat or excessive cold. So sun is the one who maintains like the exact temperature on whatever is required. So sun is required. Then all the activity starts happening when the sun comes out. So that comes from Krishna. Then the moon, splendor of the moon, we will see in future verses um, the moon nourishes the vegetables and fruits. This is summertime, so some of you may like watermelon. So water in the watermelon is actually because of the moonlight. So they are nourished by the moon. So um, and then the splendor of the fire. Purpose is all the factories begin with the fire. Fire is used in all the chimneys and all the factories. Everything is made. There is fire. So Krishna says they all come from me. The splendor come from me. Without these things, there is no life. So this is one way in which we can see that how Krishna is maintaining. Okay, let's have someone read this.
I enter into each planet, and by my energy, they stay in orbit. I become the moon and thereby supply the juice of life to all vegetables.
Thank you, Shilata Mataji. How the planet stays in orbit? Krishna says, I enter into each planet and by my energy they stay in orbit. Krishna says they stay in orbit by my energy. Now, um, we can say it's gravitational force or it's other forces, but the reason those forces exist and things are as they are, there is always external cause. But the reason they exist in this particular way is because of Krishna. Krishna has arranged the situation in such a way that things exist as they are. It can be understood in this way. Um, so Krishna says, I enter into each planet and by my energy they stay in orbit. Then I become the moon and thereby supply the juice of life to all the vegetables. So this we discussed. That the moon is also Krishna's energy. Okay, let's okay, here is an example. Son rebelled against the father. So there was a father, and the father loved his son so much. But then the son rebelled against the father, and he doesn't like the father anymore. And then he ran away from the house. So the father came to know. So he called some of his friends and some of the contacts, and they kind of met their son and they helped the son. Son is when the son ran away, son doesn't know what to eat, where to live, what to do. So the friends, they came as unknown people and they found the son and they said, well, we are charitable people and we can help you with something. So the son was very happy. He just don't want his father, but he still want to survive. So they helped him to get a home for free. They helped him to um, um, get the vegetables and have cooking facilities. and have electricity and other things required. So they helped him in all different ways, so the son can live happily. So that's what Krishna does to us. Because now, as spirit soul, we don't require maintenance. We don't require. But then, when there is a body needs to be maintained. So Krishna gave us a home. How the the planets stay in orbit by his energy. So that's our home. We have a place to stay on this planet, and then we get vegetables, we get sunlight, we get we get the electricity or the fire to cook. So Krishna says they all come from me. So this is actually God's love, or you can say that's how he maintains us, that everything he provides and we cannot live without. Although we may not appreciate, like an ungrateful person, yet it's provided to us and we are able to live. Okay, let's have someone read this.
I am the fire of digestion in the bodies of all living entities, and I join with the air of life, outgoing and incoming, to digest the four kinds of foodstuff.
Thank you, Soumya Mataji. And then it's something beyond. I am also the fire of digestion in the bodies of all living entities. Now, once we eat the food, we don't have any power to digest it. Sometimes we may eat pizza, and it takes some time to digest, but we don't have the power to digest. Krishna says, I am the fire of digestion. External fire to cook also comes from Krishna. Fire in the body to digest also comes from Krishna. And I join with the air of life outgoing and incoming to digest the four kind of food stuff. Okay. So at Krishna is maintaining us from an outside perspective by giving us a suitable environment, and he is maintaining us from within also. He is working so that we can live. Four kind of food stuff is: some are chewed, some are sipped, like water or juice. Some are licked with your tongue. You lick something. Some are sucked, like take the top of a mango and suck the mango from within with the skin. So many things can be done. So all any kind of food stuff. Okay, someone can read the Sanskrit and then the English.
Okay, let me try.
Okay, please.
सर्वस्य केहं हृदि संविष्टो मातः स्मृति जाननम अपोनहम च वेदाय च सर्वाय अनहम इव वेदय वेदांत कृद वेदाविद इव चहम. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas.
Wonderful, wonderful recitation of Sanskrit. So this is one of the most important verse in Bhagavad Gita. There are many, um, but one of the probably, if you choose top 10 verses of Bhagavad Gita, this is one of the verses. So I'll try to explain this. That's why I kept Sanskrit. Many of you who have read Bhagavad Gita probably may remember this also. Sarvasya cha ham hridi sannivishtu. So hridi is the heart. Um, Sarvasya, um, all living entities. Aham cha aham. Aham means I. So aham hridi sannivishtu. I am seated in the heart of Sarvasya, of all living entities. So if you are asked by somebody, is God within you? And then you say yes. And then they ask you, how do you know if God is within you? Then you say, go to Bhagavad Gita 15 or 15. Very easy to remember. 15 or 15. And the first line there it says, Sarvasya cha aham hridi sannivishto. I am situated in everyone's heart. So Krishna is sitting right now in everyone's heart. Matta, and what he does while he's sitting in the heart. Matta from me, Smriti. Smriti means memory, memory, or remembrance. Gyan, knowledge. Apohanam, forgetfulness comes. Cha means forgetfulness also comes. So from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. All three. Um, if we are able to remember something, it's because of Krishna in our heart. If we forget something, it's because of Krishna in our heart. Like from a Krishna conscious perspective, you can say that if you are trying to remember a verse in Bhagavad Gita, or if the remembrance comes, that also comes from Krishna. Or if you are not able to remember, that forgetfulness also comes from Krishna. And if you have some realization, that also comes from Krishna. We are on different stages in our Krishna consciousness. We all will have different realizations. Some have a lot of realizations, some have less realizations. Based on realizations, we will have faith. So all these level of realizations comes under jnana, knowledge. That also comes from Krishna. Vedaischa sarve aham eva vedyo. Um, Sarver means all the Vedas. Vedaischa sarve aham eva vedyo. Um, I compiled them. I compiled, and I am okay. Aham eva vedyo. That is a fourth line. Aham eva vedyo means aham means from all the Vedyo, from all the Vedas, I am to be known. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. So the purpose now here, the reason this chapter becomes one of the most important chapter because of this verses and few more verses next. The most important section of this chapter is these 5 verses that we are going to discuss now. Um, so Krishna says, from all the Vedas, Aham eva Vedyo, I am to be known. Vedesha Sarve, from all the Vedas I am to be known. Then he says Vedanta Krid. Krid means compiler. So he says I am the compiler of the Vedanta. Vedanta Krid, Veda vid eva chaham. And vid means to know. So Veda vid means and aham. Aham again means I. I. Aham Veda vid eva chaham. Uh, and I am also the knower of the Vedas. So if somebody asks you any questions about Vedas, Yajurved, Rigved, Atharved, Samved, Vedanta Sutras, anything, if the question comes, who wrote them? And then somebody says, well, this scientist wrote them, was coming from here, they are 300 or 500, 1500 years old, and this philosopher says this, and then you say, well, Bhagavad Gita says, Krishna says that I wrote them. Krid means I compiled them, I wrote them. And then um, if if you want to know the conclusion of a book, you ask the author. And Krishna himself says that I am the compiler of the Veda, and from all the Vedas, I am the knower of the Vedas. If he compiled, he is the knower also. So I am the knower of the Vedas, I am the compiler of the Vedas, and the purpose of all the Vedas is to know me, is to know me. So here Krishna is telling that the purpose of the Vedas is to know Krishna. Second chapter also Krishna says that if one knows the purpose behind the Vedas, then there is no need to read all the Vedas. So if you just accept, and we will see this will be the summary by the end of these 5 chapters, is just building up now, where Krishna is describing about himself, that how he is the supreme, and that's why this chapter is called Purushottam Yoga, which is the yoga of the supreme, very clearly. So first we discussed how Krishna is sitting in the heart of every living entity, how Krishna gives forgetfulness, and how Krishna gives remembrance. Now Something more here. This I may read something small. The living entity forgets everything about his past life. That also comes from Krishna. All kind of forgetfulness comes from Krishna. And probably none of us in this room remember our previous life. Comes from Krishna. Prabhupada says. But the super soul, the witness of all his work, gives him remembrance and required knowledge to start his deeds. So we don't remember our past life, but then we have certain desires before we died. So Krishna gives us those memory of those desires, and we start working for those desires. Basically, whatever material desires we have, goals, they are coming from some may be coming from, it comes from association. Material association give rise to material desires. Some may come from previous life, some may come from this life, but Krishna gives them the memory. One very good example I may have shared, if not, repetition is always good, is Dhruva Maharaj. We know that Dhruva Maharaj um, was desiring to sit on the lap of his father, and Dhruvaloka. So Dhruvaloka, the name it's called Dhruvaloka because of Dhruv Maharaj. He ruled that planet. So that's why that place is called Dhruvaloka, Dhruv Nakshatra. So this Dhruv Maharaj was desiring to sit on the lap of his father, and the father was father had two wives. One one wife was named Suniti, and one wife was named Suruchi and Suniti. Suniti was the first one, and Suruchi was the second one. So Maharaj Uttanapad has lot of ruchi in Suruchi. Ruchi means taste. So he had lot of taste in the second wife. It's natural because second wife was more younger and more beautiful, material conception of life, but somehow he had that affection. So because he was very much attracted to her beauty, he was kind of bound by always trying to please her. See, this propensity is there. It's just that this propensity has to be directed towards Krishna, is bound by the attractive feature of Krishna and trying to please Krishna. It becomes transcendental. But when it goes in other direction, it becomes the cause of bondage in this material world. So Maharaj Dhanapad was very much attracted to his new, beautiful young wife Suruchi. So Suruchi also had a son. Um, um, his name was Uttam. So Uttam was sitting on the lap of his father, and his father was a hand-pegged husband. Hand-pegged means he he is bound to do whatever his second beautiful wife would say, because if he displease her, he will not get the satisfaction that he wants from her. So that's why he's called hand-pegged husband. So he was sitting on, and Uttam was sitting on the lap of his father, and the first son came from the old wife. Now, naturally, what happens? Uh, Suruchi did not like Suniti because of envy. Envy comes when there is a competitor in my sense gratification. I want to enjoy something, something I want to achieve, something I value, somewhere I want to be, and somebody else is doing it, has achieved it, or is getting the taste I am not able to get, envy will come. Envy will come because of competition. Competition which in lines with my material desires. Um, so this new young wife, when she saw uh, Maharaj Dhruva wanting to sit on the lap of his father, she became angry at Dhruva, and she said, "Get lost! You are the son of the first wife, and you want to sit on your father's lap. Get lost!" And the father, because he was henpecked, he could not say anything. So when there is attachment, then right decision is barred. Then the decision is biased by attachment. Very good example is Dhritarashtra. He he was his son Duryodhan. He was attached to his son Duryodhan. So Duryodhan tried to disrobe Draupadi. Dhritarashtra, no, this is the wrong thing. and he's blind. He cannot say anything anyways. Uh, but he still did not say anything because he was attached to his son. Um, Duryodhan gambled, and by force he kind of took everything by cheating through Shakuni. He took everything. Dhritarashtra knew everything, but he stayed quiet. So when there is attachment, then even if something wrong is happening, the person cannot say anything. So um, this new young wife, Suruchi, she scolded Dhruva, get lost. You don't deserve because you have taken birth from the womb of Suniti. You don't deserve. If you want to sit on the lap of your father, then you have to die. You have to die. You have to die. And then you pray to Lord Vishnu to give you birth from my womb because I am the one. Take birth from my womb, then I will let you sit on the lap of your father. Uttanapad, his father saw he come exactly this is wrong, but he did not say a word. So Dhruva was sobbing and he was crying. A small child, 5 years old, and he was running away. And Suruchi was smiling at that, seeing the pain she has caused. That's like mode of ignorance, where your happiness comes from others are getting harmed, others are suffering. That's where if our happiness is coming from, that's mode of goodness. That's mode of ignorance. Mode of goodness, if we see others suffering, it we feel pain. And if we see others happiness, it gives us joy. There is no competition. There is no envy. These are all lower modes. That's why mode of goodness is most conducive for devotional service. But bhakti itself will bring us to mode of goodness also. So Dhruv Maharaj went to his original mother Suniti and he was sobbing. Mother Suniti came to know all that had happened, and Mother Suniti actually happened to be a pure devotee of Krishna. So Mother Suniti said, whatever. Now this is something very striking point because she is a pure devotee of Krishna. She cannot find fault in anyone. This is the nature of pure devotee. I'm 100% clear there is a material desire and there is a fault in this young wife. She's just too proud and she's envious, um, and she wants to control her husband. So there is just clear indication of her mode of passion ignorance. But Suniti, being a pure devotee of Krishna, could not see fault in Suruchi. This old wife, she said that actually the new young wife who is actually proud and envious and want to be a controller, actually she is right. And how can she be right? A pure devotee can take good from something that is completely bad. So Suniti, she saw that actually what she's saying is right. If you want to fulfill any of your desires, you have to take shelter of Narayan. So Suruchi said, you are low born, you deserve to die. But she used one word that you pray to Vishnu to take birth from my womb. Everything is coming out of um, pride and passion and ignorance and envy. But Suniti just saw that she used the word Vishnu. So she said, yeah, it's right. You have to take shelter of Vishnu. So Dhruv Maharaj was really eager. So he asked his mother, where do I find Vishnu now? So Suniti said, well, he is found in the forest. People who want to attain Vishnu, they go to the forest. That's all I know. So nobody expected, and Dhruv Maharaj had such determination that without telling anyone, at the age of 5, he just left. He just left. And on the way, he met Narad Muni. And Narad Muni is a transcendentalist. Narad Muni is a pure devotee of Krishna, and he knows where to go when and whom to give spiritual knowledge. So unless someone is really ready to take to the spiritual life with great determination, Narad Muni does not give his darshan. Narad Muni is still there. He's a traveling creature. He travels, but he comes only in certain cases and in very influential cases most of the times. Most of the personalities described in Srimad Bhagavatam are practically the disciples of Narad Muni. Prahlad Maharaj was Narad Muni's disciple. Dhruv Maharaj was Narad Muni's disciple. And there are many others. Maharaj Priyavrata and many stories are there. Disciple of Narad Muni. King Prachini Bari and I don't know many. So Narad Muni came to Dhruva and Dhruva said, um, where can I find Vishnu? Narad Muni said, oh, you want to find Vishnu? Why do you want Vishnu? Then he said, Dhruv Maharaj said, I want a kingdom greater than my great grandfather. Because now Dhruv Maharaj was also at this point of time not a pure devotee. And Dhruv Maharaj saw the his Dhruv Maharaj interpreted situation in such a way that my father is so proud of his wealth. Uh, um, so I want to. The mood was of a revenge, actually, honestly, of a revenge, and he wanted to prove to his father that I can also get bigger property than you. So Uttanapad is son of Brahma. Brahma owns the entire universe. Maharaj Dhruva wants the wealth more than the wealth of Brahma. Like, what is our wealth? We may have a small home or a small car, or maybe 5 homes, or maybe 10 homes, or maybe a company, and few cars maybe. But what is that compared to just United States? How many companies and homes are in the United States? What to speak about whole Earth? Out of question, what to speak about the whole planet where there are millions of a whole universe where there are unlimited planets in this universe. Sun planet, moon planet, everything comes with it. And Earth compared to Sun planet is like a cheetah, like a dot, the size of Earth compared to Sun planet. There are millions of planets. So, what to speak about the opulence of Brahma? He is the owner of the entire universe. There is no second equal to him. And Dhruv Maharaj wants a wealth greater than Brahma also. That's why later on we will see he was given a Dhruv Lok. Dhruv Lok is actually bigger than the entire Brahma Lok also, because it's not going in detail, because it's a manifestation of spiritual world actually. That's why it's the highest, it's the topmost. Um, Nonetheless, he said, I want a kingdom greater than my great grandfather Brahma also. And Narad Muni was surprised. Narad Muni thought, such a material desire. I mean, if we have material desire, at max we will say, maybe I need a better car, or maybe I need 5 bedroom home. I mean, we have our limit to our material desire. Maharaj Dhruva had no limit to his material desires. It's like greater than Brahmalok also. Brahmalok, Satyalok, greater than Brahmalok also. So Narad Muni said, why, what happened? And Dhruva said, because I wanted to sit on the lap of my father and my father rejected me. That's why I want a kingdom greater than my father's kingdom also. So Narad Muni literally smiled. I mean, imagine a son comes to you and or a small 5-year child comes to you and he said, my friend took a toy, so I want to do austerities and I want to defeat. What will you say? Child, go back home. Okay. So Narad Muni behaved in a similar way. Narad Muni said, you are a small child, 5 years old. Why do you take things so seriously? Especially you are just not allowed to sit on the lap of your father. Go back home. And Dhruv Maharaj became angry. Dhruv Maharaj said, are you here to help me or discourage me? If you cannot help me, please move out of my way. I will go to the forest and find Vishnu. But Narad Muni is a preacher. So Narad Muni saw that Dhruva actually has the capability to attain the goal of his life. Through this material desire, he can actually become a pure devotee. Narad Muni saw the potential in Dhruva. Actually, many times, Krishna uses our own material desire to bring us to him. This is so wonderful. Krishna, I mean, especially in the beginning stages, Krishna fulfills our material desires and we become satisfied. And through those material desires, Krishna will try to enter our heart also. It's so wonderful because the goal of life is to understand Krishna. is to go back to God. So Narad Muni saw the capacity and he said, well, the means to attain and go back to Godhead is by chanting the names of God. So Dhruv Maharaj said, which name should I chant? And this is, so there are different names recommended for different age. So this is Satya Yuga. So Narad Muni told that for this Satya Yuga, you have to chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva. For this age we know, we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So Dhruv Maharaj said, all right. So Dhruv Maharaj went to the forest. 6 months he chanted Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva with great determination. He was so eager to, he was so eager and he was so determined to attain Krishna. So he actually attained Krishna in 6 months. His determination was too strong. It is said like 1 month, after 1 month he stopped eating and he would eat only dry leaves, not regular food like fruits and something that he liked, just dry leaves. After 1 month he even stopped eating those dry leaves and things. Then he would drink only water. Next month he stopped drinking water also. And then he would breathe. That's it. His food was his air. Then the last month he even stopped breathing. Then Narayan himself came because it is said Dhruv Maharaj became so powerful by his austerities that by his stopping breathing, the demigods could not breathe properly. So they all went to Narayan and they said, please help us. This wind god is also kind of overcome by the austerity of this small boy. So that time Narayan appeared to Dhruva and Dhruv Maharaj, because although he had lot of material desires, because he was worshipping um, and chanting Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, he became purified. Lord Narayan gave him darshan of himself. So it is described in the Shastras that now if you are a child, imagine, and if you are not allowed to sit on the lap of your father, how many of you will desire that I want a kingdom greater than my great grandfather? How many of us will develop that desire? I mean, at least we can say, I want to take revenge. I don't want to talk to my father. What does he think of himself? Or I will prove him, or whatever. Who will desire? I want a kingdom greater than my great grandfather. So scriptures explain actually previous life. Um, Dhruv Maharaj was a friend of a king's son, and Dhruv Maharaj was very much attracted to the kingdom of the king. And he had a desire, I want a kingdom like my son's friend, because his friend was very rich, son of a king. In the next life, through this desire came back, that I want a kingdom greater than my great grandfather. So it is described in the scriptures that our material desire many times are coming from our previous life. See, we all behave differently in the same situation. That is based on our samskara, our previous activities. Same instance, we all will have different desires based on our samskara. If samskara is very pure, then in those situations also we will be Krishna conscious. But if some samskaras are not pure, then in those situations we want some material desire. So the reason I share this is that forgetfulness, Dhruva forgot that in his previous life he was this. But at the same time, Dhruva remembered his previous life desire, but he did not remember that that was my previous desire. He remembered it as this is what I want. So the remembrance from previous desire came to Dhruva. So likewise, at the same time, there is forgetfulness. So this is all the job of the work of Krishna who is sitting in our. So one of the very important verses. Another example is Hanuman. Another example is Karna. They are all they all were given the forgetfulness. Hanuman was trying to catch the sun. He had lot of mystical powers. So he was just flying to catch the sun, and sun god became very afraid that this boy will put me in his pocket. He was so powerful, Hanuman. So sun god went to Indra, and then Indra kind of took a thunderbolt and attacked Hanuman. So Hanuman was like very much kind. He broke his chin, Hanuman, and he fell down. He was bleeding. So Vayudev became very upset. My son is like, who dared to harm my son in this way? So Vayudev stopped flowing, and all the demigods were choking. All the living entities started choking, as if to die because of no air. So they all came and they all went to Brahma, and they told Brahma to please help us. We are about to die. There is no air. So Brahma understood what they did. Brahma said, "What do you expect? You broke the chin of his son. What do you expect? You made a mistake." Then he said, "No, but he was trying to catch the sun god. There will be no sun on the planet." So Hanuman was so powerful. So Brahma told all the demigods that you go and beg forgiveness and give benediction. So all the demigods came to Hanuman. They gave lot of benediction, and they pacified Vayudev. So everything became normal. So Hanuman now became even more powerful. He was already so powerful, Pavan Putra Hanuman, and now he became even more powerful. So his mischievous activities were like uncontrollable. But nobody has the guts to say anything to Hanuman because he's Vayuputra. So what do we do? So they all devised a plan that we will give him the blessings, that he will forget all his powers. And at the right time, in the service of the Lord, he will remember those powers. So although they gave blessings, the fulfillment of that blessings comes from the Lord in the heart. That forgetfulness, remembrance, like the sages, sometimes they curse, sometimes they give benediction, but the desire is actually fulfilled by the Lord. Krishna fulfills all the desires. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that these demigods, they give benedictions, but they are actually fulfilled by me. In 7th chapter, when he speaks about demigods, he says that everything is working by my under my direction. Whatever I give them faith in demigods, but those purposes and desires are actually in truth fulfilled by me alone. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So Hanuman became a very nice, composed, a normal child. And then when Jambavan and other asked Hanuman, when through Sampati, who was Jatayu's brother, when they come to know that Sampati could see from his transcendental vision that Sita Devi is with Ravana, and this is 100 yojanas or 800 miles far. So who can cross over? So they ask Hanuman. Um, they ask everybody, and nobody has guts to cross over 800 miles long. So when they ask Hanuman, they know the kind of the benediction of Hanuman. So they reminded Hanuman that you are Pavan Putra Hanuman, you can do this and this and that, and these are benediction. And Hanuman became more and more powerful. So he remembered that, oh, this is who I am. And he made a jump and he could cross over. So that he got the remembrance and he got the forgetfulness. Krishna says, it's coming from me. I am sitting in the heart. Everything is happening under the control of Krishna who is sitting in our heart. It's just a matter of whether we can see it. So first seeing is through scriptures, where Bhagavad Gita says, Matta Smriti Jnanam Apohanam Cha. That's why this verse can be applied in all of our life on every single day. To the extent of I forgot the keys where they are. That also comes from Krishna. If you want to try, when you forgot the keys, where you have kept the keys, you pray to Krishna in your heart. Just try that. So how that's how a devotee takes shelter of Krishna in every situation. Just try, my Lord, please help me where the keys are, and you will see it. So everything, all forgetfulness, all remembrance, and all knowledge, everything comes from Krishna. Another very good example is Karna. There are so many examples. Karna, because he took the gyan from Dronacharya with a with he cheated him, saying that I am a Kshatriya when he was not. When Dronacharya came to know, he cursed him that I have taught you everything. When it is most needed, you will forget everything. So at the time of death, Karna forgot everything. So that forgetfulness actually, although the the curse was given by Dronacharya, it comes in effect. See, you may become a great sage, or your words may have power, You may curse someone, but you remain a living entity. We curse someone, and they will have an impact. But how are they having an impact? Who is that personality who is making things run? We don't have the power. Even if we become like great sages, we don't have the power to do anything. But the benediction and the curses have power. Not in Kali Yuga actually. In previous ages they had the power. But these are simple sages. Even unqualified brahmanas like Shringi, such you may not know the story, but there is no need. But even unqualified brahmanas, they can curse and they can give benediction, and it actually happens. But they actually have no power. So it's Krishna who supports the brahmanas and who makes everything work. Matta smriti jnanam apohanam cha. All remembrance, knowledge, forgetfulness comes from the Lord who is sitting in our heart. Um, you can speak. You can speak to um, um, Lord in your heart, and He will listen to you. You can make promises. He is the one who wakes us up. You tell yourself, "I want to get up at 4 a.m. in the morning." At sharp 4 a.m., your sleep will break. It's inconceivable. Sometime I have played many games with Paramatma in the heart, and I've seen every time um, 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 the deal works out, kind of. So you can try him out. That will bring lot of faith. But Krishna also says in 13th chapter that only my devotees can understand Paramatma. So if you just remain sincere in your spiritual practices, um, you can easily come to realize that the Lord is sitting in your. Okay, that's something on Paramatma. So the summary of Vedas and Vedanta, everything is to come to the point of knowing Krishna. And what is the proof? Krishna himself says that. Purpose of Vedas and Vedanta, everything is to know me. Okay, so last three verses, the essence of everything. If we understand these three verses, then see the benediction these three verses will give. That's why this chapter is one of the most important and one of my favorite chapter also. 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So let's have someone read this.
There are two classes of beings, the fallible and the infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible.
Krishna says there are two kind of people. Now look at the picture. So you see on the bottom there are humans, and you see there are sages also, and on the top you see there are eternal souls, devotees of Krishna. Some are friends of Krishna, some are gopis, some are in parental bhav with Krishna, some are like servant of Krishna. So they are infallible souls. Infallible means they never fall down. They are always pure transcendental love for Krishna, and they have pastimes with Krishna. But on the bottom you see they're working very hard, carrying, even the dog is there, or they are struggling to maintain themselves, working day and night just to maintain, just to get some food, and trying to get some, and they are completely forgetful of Krishna. They are forgetful of who they are, and they are just thinking that I'm a fat man, I'm a thin man, I'm a lady, I am this. They all have their false identities which are taken away from them at the time of death, and struggling very hard just to live. And why they are struggling? For some small sense gratification. They all have their own small personal goals, and they are running and struggling very hard behind it, and they have no idea of who they are. And whatever they enjoy, but they carry so many impressions. At the time of death, any accumulation, they lose it, and then they go ahead to the next life and they start working based on this life desire. They try to fulfill unfulfilled desires in the next life, and they continue in 8.4 million species of life. So these are called fallen souls, fallen people, fallen. Fallen means entrapped by Maya, fallen souls. So Krishna says there are two classes of being. He says the fallible and the infallible. So who are infallible? Spiritual world, pure, pure. Their 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 wealth, their wealth is love for Krishna. That's their only wealth. Everything is naturally provided there. You don't need to work very hard. Only leelas happens there. Everything is for the sake and out of love for Krishna. Everything is provided. Whatever you want, you get it. So um, every tree is a kalpa vriksha tree. You want mango, don't need to earn, don't need to go and buy. You just tell any tree, I need mango. They will give you the best, most ripe mangoes, all that. So everything is arranged there. It's all leelas that happen there. But fallible people, and Krishna says in material world, every living entity is fallible. Why we are here? Because we are fallible souls. That's why we are here. And in the spiritual world, every living entity is infallible. So this verse itself proves uh, there is a spiritual world and there is life in spiritual world. There are activities in spiritual world and they never fall down. And material world, anyways, we can see with our own eyes. Okay, let's have someone read this. Maybe Soumya Mataji.
Besides these two, there is a greatest living personality, the Supreme Soul, the imperishable Lord Himself, who has entered the three worlds and is maintaining them.
Hmm. Very interesting. Krishna says, beside these two, what are these two? The fallible and infallible. There is a greatest living personality. He says this personality is the supreme soul, the imperishable Lord Himself. See, very interesting. Just think about it. Krishna does not say beside fallible and infallible souls, it's me who is the supreme soul. Although just before that, Krishna says it's me who is a compiler of the Vedas. Aham, 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 aham. Sarvasa cha aham. Um, aham eva vedyo. I am the um, uh, Vedanta krit Vedavid eva chaham. So four times Krishna used the word aham, me. It's me. Compiler of the Vedas, knower of the Vedas, the super soul and everyone's heart, everything is me. But here Krishna is telling there is the imperishable Lord Himself, the supreme soul who has entered the three words and is maintaining them. So if the question is who is maintaining the three words and everything, so Krishna says, well, now first thing is some people, very very foolish people, they say that we are all gods. Like all the followers of Shankaracharya, we have discussed this in the past. They say that we are gods. So it's clear refutation in this particular verse. Krishna says, beside these two, there is a supreme soul. So means fallible, infallible, and the supreme Lord, they are different. They are different. Some people say there is only Brahman and there is no variety in spiritual world. But Krishna says no, there are infallible people and there is the Supreme Lord. Both are there in the spiritual world. And in the material world, there are fallible who are fallen down, fallible living entities, and the Supreme Lord is here also who is maintaining. So the Lord is actually maintaining everything material and everything spiritual. How he is maintaining Krishna is already described in this chapter. He is the sun, he is the moon, he is the fire of digestion, he provides the vegetables, he keeps the planets in orbit, he. And here Krishna is telling that Supreme Lord, he maintains everything in this material world and in the spiritual world. Now, the next verse, which is supremely important verse, Krishna describes who is that imperishable Lord, the greatest personality, one who is beyond fallible and infallible, the supreme soul. Who is that personality? And let's have someone read this.
Because I am transcendental, beyond both the fallible and the infallible. And because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as the supreme person.
And here Krishna is telling, I am beyond both fallible, infallible. I am the greatest. I am celebrated both in the word and in the Vedas as the supreme person. Um, um, some people, now obviously everybody in spiritual world knows Krishna is supreme person. Everybody who read the scriptures, the Vedas, they also know Krishna is supreme person. I mean, um, most of the time. And if you see, um, if you go up, there are like millions of demigods. They're all devotees of Narayan. They're all devotees of Narayan. They all, we see many stories. Um, Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, Kamsa, when there were such attacks, they went to Brahma and Brahma went along with them. And he went to Narayan and he prayed. And then Narayan comes. Narayan comes as Varahadev, as Matsya Avatar, as Kurma, as Vamana. In many incarnations, Narayan comes. Um, um, mm. But Krishna is not an incarnation of Narayan. This I am not sure if we have discussed. There are many things that can be said. Narayan is incarnation of Krishna. At one point of time, Krishna personally descends. Narayan's responsibility is limited to this material world. Every material universe has its own Narayan. Brahma, Shiva, and Narayan. These are three personalities who maintain each universe. Um, Among them, they have their individual roles. Brahma creates, Lord Shiva destroys, and Narayan maintains. So whenever there is a problem, if Brahma can solve, he solves. If he cannot solve, they go to Narayan, and um, Narayan comes in many of his incarnation, and he saves the universe. So again and again, it is established. So that is the role. But Krishna has nothing to do with these material universes. Um, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva are actually called the Guna avatar of Krishna. Mode of goodness, avatar is Narayan. Mode of passion is Brahma. Mode of ignorance is Shiva. So these are called Guna avatars. Guna means Sattvagun, Rajagun, Tamogun. They're called Guna avatars. Like there are lead avatars like Lord Ram. There are Manvantara avatar. There are Manvantara avatar is the Manus. There is Satyavesh avatar like Jesus Christ, who are living entities, and Vyasadeva. They are living entities, but they are empowered. Jesus Christ was empowered to spread love of God, and Vyasadeva was empowered to write scriptures. Living entities, but they have they have a particular Shakti as a representative of Lord to spread His message. Um, so there are many incarnations, six kinds of incarnations, I believe. So here Krishna is telling that previous verse, Krishna said, um, mm, there is fallible, there is infallible, and beyond that, there is a supreme soul. So we discuss something on that. And he is the one who maintains the supreme Lord. And here Krishna is telling, I am celebrated both in the word and in the Vedas as the supreme person. That's why this the Sanskrit of this word supreme person is called Purushottam. And from this particular verse, and this particular word in this particular verse, this chapter is named after. It's called Purushottam Yoga. Uttam means person, Purush means person, Uttam means supreme. So Purushottam, who is um, transcendental, beyond fallible, infallible in spiritual world, that Purushottam is from where this word comes, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Their Supreme Personality means Purushottam. Purushottam. Okay, so this is the essence. Okay, let's have someone read this. Maybe in the English part here.
Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is the knowledge of everything. He engages in devotional service unto me in all respects, O son of Bharata.
Thank you, Aruna Mataji. This is the essence. Now, this verse and the previous verse calls this chapter Purushottam Yoga, the yoga of the Supreme Person. Yoga means to connect with the Supreme Person. Two things are required to connect to the Supreme Person. First, who is the Supreme Person? Based on authority of Bhagavad Gita, who is the Supreme Person and how to connect with him. And Krishna says here that first thing is Asam Mudo Janati. Asam Mudo means Samshaya. Samshaya means doubt. And Asam, Asam Mudo is coming from one who is free from doubts, without doubting. Asam Mudo Janati Purushottamam. One who without doubting no mam. Mam means me. Yo mam evam Asam Mudo Janati Purushottamam. One who knows without doubting that Mam, I am Purushottamam, that I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sa Sarvavid, Sa Sarvavid, he is a knower of everything. Bhajati Mam, and he engages in devotional service unto me. Bhaja, Bhaja means Bhakti Yoga. Bhaja, Bhaja Govinda. So he engages in devotional service unto me. Sarva Bhavena Bharata, in all respects, Osano Bharata. So why now two things are required. First, we need to understand who is Supreme Personality of Godhead, and if we can somehow or other, based on the authority of Scripture, somehow or other, if we can come to the understanding that maybe Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If he is not, then there is a good chance that Bhagavad Gita is wrong. Either Bhagavad Gita is wrong, or maybe Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. And moreover, all the scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam, Purana, Amalam, they are also describing it. So maybe Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Let me assume this for now. Let us say that. And then Krishna says, one who can accept that, and then bhajati. And then he engages in devotional service. For now, let us assume maybe Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Let me render some devotional service unto me. Let us try. See what happens. See what happens. We're not going to lose any, uh, there is no wealth lost. There is, it's the easiest thing. Like it is said, if you want to progress in spiritual life, people go to the forest, people go to Himalayas. They live in hot sun and cold winter, wearing just little garments on the bottom, and do severe austerities and eat only leaves and those kind of food stuff and live very austere life. Now we are in a very comfortable situation in US and things are going very fine. So at least we can spend 10-15 minutes a day rendering devotional service, because now we are coming to the end of Bhagavad Gita, and I mean we have only 3 chapters remaining. We are closing the end of Bhagavad Gita, and this chapter Krishna is declaring about himself. So he says, one who can come to accept me without doubt. If you accept him without doubt, naturally you would like to serve him. See, we all like to serve a great personality. You see, you think of somebody whom you hold in very high regard. You would like to serve that person. And if you can understand that actually Krishna is the Supreme Person, he is a Purushottam. Um, there is nobody higher than him. Naturally, you would like to serve him. So this is called, and Krishna says, if you know this without doubt, Then he says, you're knower of everything. So we may not know many things, but according to Krishna, if you know Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, you know everything. Why? Because the purpose of knowing all other things is to come to the point of knowing Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just like if some of you are PhD or you read a PhD paper and there are 100 differences. That's what he said. This is what he says, and that was his conclusion or her conclusion. And I did experiment from there, and chick, and connecting. The whole thesis is written. At the end, there is a conclusion. And if you come to the point of conclusion, there is no, and if you can somehow accept that conclusion, there is no need to go through the whole research. If you are eager, you can go through the Vedas and you can search and come to the same conclusion, or you can accept what Krishna himself says that the purpose of Vedas is to know me. And one who knows me, one who knows the conclusion, then even if you go through all the theses, ultimately what you're going to take home in essence is that's how to move forward in my problem. That's the solution to apply. Or although you may have a lot of understanding, but in this age of Kali, people do not even have time. Who reads scriptures these days, and how much they read scriptures, and how many scriptures can we read? One Rigved, one Rijur, one Samved is like, no, it takes lifetimes just to read such scriptures. And in fact, the sages, while before Srimad Bhagavatam was written, the sages asked this question that there are so many scriptures. Please tell us the essence of all the scriptures and please tell us what is ultimate good for all living entity. Because people in this age of Kali have short lives. They hardly live, and on the top of short life, they are very distracted. There are so many advertisements of material energy. They're very distracted, they're very busy, and these scriptures are like infinitely long. So this is compassion. So the sages are asking Sutta Goswami, we will read Shrimad Bhagavatam after Shrimad Bhagavatam is advanced course. After we read Bhagavad Gita, we'll go through the basics of Shrimad Bhagavatam just to give us a feel of Bhagavatam. It's always nourishing when we discuss Bhagavatam together. So in Bhagavatam, the first chapter of Bhagavatam, the sages ask, people are always disturbed, people are misguided because everyone is going in many directions and there is no proper guidance. So people don't have proper guidance and their lives are very short and they are very busy and their minds are so disturbed. So in this particular situation, please tell us you have read all the scriptures, you have heard from a bona fide sampradaya, parampara. You have heard directly from the mouth of Sukadev Goswami, who is son of Ved Vyas. Ved Vyas is the one who wrote everything. Ved Vyas did not compile. Ved Vyas did not generate scriptures. He just scripted it with the help of Ganesh. These scriptures are coming directly from the spiritual world, Aparushya. They are not man-made. They're coming directly from spiritual world. And Krishna says, "That's me. They are coming from me." And so Ved Vyas' son, this question was asked that please tell us in short, uh, what is the essence of all the scriptures? What should people do having coming to this material world, especially in this age of Kali, to go back to Godhead? What should they do? And the answer came in Shrimad Bhagavatam. Um, um, Vasudev Bhagavati. You have to Bhakti Yoga Prayojita. You have to perform bhakti to Bhagavan Vasudev. Vasudev Bhagavati. To Bhagavan Vasudev. Vasudev is son of Vasudev, which is Krishna. So to Krishna, you have to perform bhakti, devotional service. And then it says, if one performs that, one will become very satisfied. So, essence, we will see every chapter of Bhagavad Gita comes to this conclusion. We are on 16th chapter, we are on 15th chapter, you go back to 14th chapter. Krishna explains all the three modes and detail of three modes. And then when Arjuna asks him how to go beyond three modes, Krishna says, Mam chaiva vicharena bhakti yogena sevate sa guna samati taitan Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. Krishna says, Mam means onto me. Mam chayo avyabhicharena. Avyabhichari bhakti. Avyabhichari bhakti means continuous. Mam chayo abhicharena bhakti yogena sevate. You serve me, sevate, through bhakti. Bhakti means devotional service. Um, Sa guna samatitaitan. Guna means sattvagun, rajagun, tamogun. Sa guna, all these gunas, samatitaitan means you will transcend them. You will transcend all the three modes. Whether you go to any chapter, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, you name it. You go to the end of the chapter, you will see one conclusion where Krishna says, "Perform bhakti unto me." Even sixth chapter, Krishna explains yoga. Fourth chapter, Krishna exchange Gyan yoga, and uh, fifth chapter, Krishna explains Karma yoga, and sixth chapter, Krishna explains Ashtanga yoga. Uh, and the last verse of sixth chapter, which is a transition verse, Krishna says, um, 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 uh, a yogi is greater than karmi, jnani, ashtangi, tasmad yogi bhavarjuna. Therefore, you become a yogi. And who is a yogi? Krishna says, Shraddhavan bhajate yamam samayukto tamomataha. He says, one who with Shraddha, with faith, bhajate yamam, one who worship me, samayukto tamomataha, he will be liberated. He will go back to Godhead. So, this is the essence of entire Bhagavad Gita. If we can take this one message home, and if we can apply this one thing, let me start rendering devotional service. I have heard enough. Krishna is shouting on the top of his voice, Bhakti, 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 devotional service, devotional service. Let me do that. Let me do that. Krishna is giving a guarantee. You will go beyond three modes. Um, um, you will be liberated, and you name it. Krishna gives a peace formula. You will feel divine, deep divinity. You will access that in your heart, that deep divinity. You will, Krishna says, in 18th chapter, we will see, Krishna says, you will cross over all the problems. You name it. This bhakti will give you everything. So this is the essence. That's why in the home, the most important is the Purushottam Yoga. In that, the essence, among the essence, the essential verse is Bhajati Ma, is come to the point of worshipping me, please. Okay, now this is the last verse of this chapter. Let's have someone read this.
This is the
This is
most
the
confidential part of the Vedic scriptures, O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection.
Hmm. We are all endeavoring. Let's endeavor in that direction. We are all endeavoring to advance in our spiritual life. Let us be honest. If we were not endeavoring, we would not have been here. From what I know, practically all of you are there since beginning of Bhagavad Gita. It's been many months since we have started Bhagavad Gita, and maybe six session somewhere last year. We began six session. Now we are already come to the point of 15 chapter. So there has already been week after week so much endeavor. On the top, we have been reading, we have been searching. So many endeavors are going on. So Krishna is telling his endeavor will know perfection. So let us become wise. Let us become wise. Wise means, since we're already putting our endeavor, let's put in the right direction. Let's become wise. So Krishna says, whoever understands them will become wise. And his endeavor is no perfection. So our endeavor has to be directed in a proper channel. I understand, I agree that we all are coming from different backgrounds, different part of India, born and brought up with different understanding, have met people with different faiths, and it has given us a very diverse understanding of spiritual life. Um, okay, for now, Bhagavad Gita itself, Krishna himself says that Don't disturb the mind of people. He says in second chapter that if they have some other faith, don't disturb the mind of people. So at the same time, let's add this in your spiritual experience. Let's try this. Let's not reject it, and let's give it a shot. Let's hear Krishna says, whoever understands this will become wise and his endeavor will know perfection. If there is some truth in it, let's for once try without doubt and see what happens. Like Prabhupada used to say, you chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra for 3 months. If your life does not change positively, give it up. And Srila Prabhupada said, um, uh, um, there is no loss. Prabhupada conviction. He said, you try it out. If it works for you, who gets benefit, you get benefit. It's you who is going to get benefit. Nobody else in the room other than you who is going to get benefit. So you try it out. Um, then Prabhupada would say, we're not asking you to drink or smoke or do some sinful activity. We're just asking you to chant the name of Krishna. So compare it. You try it out. If it works out, it's your great fortune. If it doesn't work out, there's nothing to lose. On the top, Prabhupada would say there's a buyback guarantee. Means if it doesn't work out, we'll pay you also. Prabhupada would say to convince these Americans. So because Prabhupada had compassion, because Prabhupada has experience, Prabhupada had love, and Prabhupada could see the nature of this material world. Prabhupada could see through that if these people are not going to take up Krishna consciousness now, they're simply going to get another body, and which body, so many activities one is doing, and the life is endless. And where is the guarantee another body will be human? If another body is other species, then so many millions of life it may take to come back to human life. Human life is so rare. Human life is meant for God realization. So Prabhupada could see through. And what all karma one is carrying from previous life baggage, who knows? And what all suffering is going to come. So Prabhupada could feel for them. So Prabhupada would say, well, we're not asking you anything else. We're just asking you try it for yourself. You try it out for your own benefit. And what does Krishna says? Krishna says this is the most confidential part of Vedic scriptures. There are many different Vedic scriptures, but this is not you and me speaking, or this is not your interpretation or my interpretation. This is Krishna's conclusion. This is the last chapter of Purushottam Yoga. This was described Falastuti. Falastuti means the benefit that you are going to get if you practice this. What is the practice? Bhajati Mam. You worship me. You perform devotional service. You accept me as Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubt. And Krishna says, if you do that, and put your endeavor, then Krishna says your endeavor will know perfection. Why we are trying to approach different spiritual direction? Because we are looking for a deep satisfaction in our heart. That's a fact. Let's accept it. We are looking for our heart to become divine. We are looking a break from the anxieties of this material world. We want to go deep, but um, here is a solution, but there is a homework required. Just like we want jobs, we want the benefit that comes from the jobs, but then we have a college where we have assignments, where we have professors who teach us, and then once we have a particular kind of required qualification, we get a job. So we also need qualification in spiritual life. That qualification is we have to become free from anarthas. This is the qualification required. We have to become free from lust, anger, envy, greed, pride. We will see in Bhagavatam when we discuss, Krishna says to Narad Muni, in Narad Muni's previous life, he was also not a pure devotee, he was a conditioned soul. We'll see the previous life of Narad Muni also in near future. So Krishna tells Narad Muni that you cannot see me in this life because your heart is not fully purified, but your this life is your last life because you are performing devotional service. But in this life you cannot see me, until you become free from all material desires. So there is a qualification required. And then Krishna also says that Cheto Darpana Marjana, that this process of devotional service, now, as long as where is anarthas coming from? The three modes. We discussed mode of passion is like lust and greed, and mode of ignorance is like anger and envy. So where are these anarthas coming from? The three modes. We are three modes means Maya. We are covered by the three modes, illusory potency of the Lord. How to go beyond and become purified? Krishna says, Abhyabicharini bhakti. You engage in my devotional service. So this is the homework. And then once we qualify ourselves and go beyond the anarthas, the impurities, because Krishna is all pure. We cannot see Krishna face to face. We cannot witness Krishna. We cannot really experience Krishna till we become qualified for that. And that's why Krishna is telling, here is a process. First, understand philosophically who I am. There's a spiritual world. We are temporary living entities. We have forgotten our previous birth itself. How can we remember who we really are on a spiritual level? But then Krishna says, um, 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 Mamai Vamsa Jiva Loke. Krishna says, you're my part and parcel. So we understand, but we have forgotten. Now this path of devotional service, this chanting of holy names especially. So this is the most confidential part of Vedic scriptures. O sinless one, it is disclosed now by me. Krishna himself is declaring the most confidential part. Here it is for you. If now take this knowledge, become wise, practice this, and your endeavor will know perfection. Okay, so we would like to end here. We have come to the end of this chapter. There is a small video on this by Srila Prabhupada. It's already 12:26, so I would prefer to show next week. If there are some questions, I can take now.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam. Prabhuji,
Hare
Anant
Krishna.
Haridas here.
You joined. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, one inquiry on the fallible and infallible. Like we heard, there are Char and Akshar, or are they same as Nitya Baddha and Nitya Siddha?
Yes, Prabhuji. Same. Yes.
So, Prabhuji, my inquiry is like the Nitya Baddha. So, they are eternal Nitya Baddha. So, is it like the source, like from all, like all are parts and parcels of Lord? So, Nitya Baddhas are also the parts and parcels of Lord.
Yes.
Nitya Siddhas are also parts and parcels of Lord. So, Nitya word for Nitya Baddha, because as we understand, if we purify ourselves, then we will be like kind of Nitya Siddha in future, maybe, like that's what my
Yes.
understanding is.
Yes.
But it's like we are Nitya Baddha presently. So Prabhuji, is it a separate tattva that comes out from Lord as Nitya Baddha and Nitya Siddha, and eventually they Nitya Baddha goes into Nitya Siddha, something like that? What is the right understanding, Prabhuji?
Okay. Okay. Well, Prabhuji, they should be seen as both are living entities. Jiva Tattva. Some of them fall down to this material world. Some of them do not fall down. In simplistic terms, those who fall down, they have no hopes of going back because they engage in materialistic activities and birth after birth. Krishna says, based on their mind, there is an ongoing life, just like wind carries the aroma of rose garden or sewer. Likewise, the mind carries impression. It's next birth, next birth, next birth continues till one comes in contact with Bhagavad Gita and get an understanding of who we are, who Krishna is, how to escape, or association of devotees who are speaking Bhagavad Gita, or um, 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 any form of spiritual contact, any form of spiritual contact, something, then the Lord kind of inspires the devotees, inspires the living entity. They develop little faith in Bhagavad Gita, they try it out, and the moment they start trying, their suffering is finished. Their material life is over. They are very soon going to attain pure devotion and go back to Godhead. One devotee said, anybody who is in Krishna consciousness, even practicing a little bit of Krishna consciousness, if not in this life, in very few lives from now, you are going to see all of them in the spiritual world. Nobody who is connected to Srila Prabhupada is gonna stay here. It's just some people will take it up slow, some people will take it up faster, but nonetheless, anybody who accepts Krishna once, Prabhupada said Krishna will never leave them, and guaranteed we all will go back home, back to Godhead. Is just Prabhupada said, why to prolong? You know, when this place is not a happy place, why take longer time? But Prabhupada said we will all meet in spiritual world. So the knowledge once given, it's gonna remain with you even if you leave ISKCON, even if you leave the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And at some point of time, it's going to come back, and you are going to become Krishna conscious again. So rest have assured Krishna is not gonna leave us. So is it okay? Something I spoke.
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, one more inquiry on like the difference between living entity and the Lord is that living entity forgets his previous birth, like, but
Yes,
the Lord remembers. So,
yes.
Prabhuji, this is true for both Nitya Baddha and Nitya Siddha. Like the Nitya Siddha, when they appear by Lord's arrangement, like let's say we take the case of Arjuna. So he's also forgetting when the knowledge was given to Lord Vivaswan. So can we understand in this way that the forgetfulness of Anitya Siddha is due to Yogmaya and the forgetfulness of Anitya Baddha is due to Mahamaya?
Yes, Prabhuji, that's a correct understanding. But we haven't introduced those terms yet.
Okay, Prabhu.
Good.
Thank you.
Can we end here? Anyone has any other question?
Dhanat Prabhuji, one question.
Okay, my Prabhu.
Like
Done.
when Nitya Siddhas come to this world, like for preaching purposes, as Lord Kapila explains that soul goes through so much of suffering in the womb of the mother. How is it that for Nitya Siddhas? Because they are also going through the same process of birth.
Mhm.
Is it that they also suffer in the mother's womb?
It's a good question, Prabhuji. I would not say that I know the answer at this point of time, but I can say that even Nitya Siddha devotees, when they come to this material world, they suffer, and it is seen not as their karma; it is seen as Lord's arrangement, and we see this in the example of Nitya Siddhas like Pandavas. Krishna says to Arjuna in previous life came along with Krishna as Nar Narayan. So he is always with Krishna, he travels with Krishna, and he performs pastimes, and these leelas happen. At the same time, we see him going through a lot of suffering when he was physically present. And Bhishma Dev told him that it's not because of your karma, but Krishna wanted to use you and teach the word through you, and you were just part of Krishna's plan. So that's how it is seen from me.
Okay, Prabhuji.
But suffering is there. Suffering is, but it's their seva to the Lord. Can be seen in
Okay,
there. Okay. Thank you for this.
thank you.
Somebody else has a question? Okay. So we can end here. Vanchakalpatarubhesha kripa sindhubhe evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantapuri Vaishnavendra ki jai Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much. Dhanapana. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.